Nightmares rarely come to life, but sometimes reality can be just as chilling. Imagine being declared dead, only to wake up in a morgue or in front of a pathologist. Although rare, such cases have been documented, and in this video we will cover such 3 stories. 46-year-old Gladys Rodriguez de Duarte from Paraguay didn't hesitate to go to the hospital when she noticed her blood pressure had spiked. She had been battling ovarian cancer and regularly went for checkups whenever she felt any discomfort. Her husband waited outside the examination room, unaware of what was happening behind closed doors. After 2 hours, the doctor came out and informed him that his wife had passed away. With no words, he continued down the hallway. The lifeless body was left behind, and the devastated man had to make arrangements for her. Her husband, Maximino Duarte Ferreira, was too shocked to protest the doctor's callous behavior. He was just beginning to accept the fact that he had lost his beloved wife. He arranged for her body to be transported from the hospital to a funeral home. Workers tasked with this job witnessed something that made their hair stand on end. The body bag containing the deceased began to move. The movements grew stronger. With trembling fingers, they opened it, revealing the face of Gladys Duarte, her eyes wide open and just as terrified as their own. She was immediately transferred from the hearse to an ambulance to receive medical attention. Nobody could understand how the doctor could have made such a grave mistake. Maximino recalled the doctor's lack of empathy when breaking the news of his wife's death. He demanded a thorough investigation. The doctor was accused of not even attempting to resuscitate her. In his defense, a colleague confirmed that resuscitation had been unsuccessful and that he was unable to detect a pulse afterward. Some experts familiar with the case believe that a possible explanation for the medical error was a condition called catalepsy. This condition causes parts of the body, or the entire body, to remain rigid and motionless for an unusually long time. In such a state, patients can appear as if they are no longer showing signs of life. In a major traffic accident that occurred in 2007 in Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, 33-year-old Carlos Camacho was thought to have lost his life. At least, that's what the emergency medical personnel who declared him dead at the scene of the crash believed. Camacho was taken to the morgue, where an autopsy was ordered to determine the exact cause of death. As the pathologist made the first incision on his face, he was immediately startled to see blood flowing. A considerable amount of time had passed since the accident, and this should not have happened. He quickly began to stitch up the wound, suspecting what it might mean. His suspicions were soon confirmed. Camacho opened his eyes and made a pained expression. It became clear that the blood had started flowing because the man on the autopsy table was not dead. As he tried to comprehend what had happened, doctors rushed to his aid. Camacho later explained that the unbearable pain of the scalpel cutting through his skin and flesh had jolted him awake. Camacho's wife was already on her way to the morgue to identify her deceased husband. However, instead of a lifeless body, she found a living man nervously pacing the corridor. It was Camacho, without a doubt. The news of the resurrected man quickly reached the journalists, who initially doubted its veracity. Camacho sent them a photo of his face with a cut and the autopsy order bearing his name, proving that the miracle had indeed occurred. A routine morning check in a Spanish prison was underway when the guard reached the cell of 29-year-old Gonzalo Montoya Jimenez. He was sitting on a chair, motionless, with his eyes closed. Doctors were immediately called to examine him. Montoya had no visible injuries, but he showed no signs of life. 2 prison doctors pronounced him dead. A forensic colleague agreed with their assessment, conducted an additional examination of the prisoner, and then signed the death certificate himself. Jimenez's body was transferred to the morgue refrigerator to be preserved until the autopsy. When everything was ready, the pathologists entered to remove the body bag. Suddenly, they heard a sound coming from within. They opened it and heard breathing more clearly. Jimenez was either in a deep sleep or a coma, but he certainly wasn't dead. He was taken to an ambulance, where he woke up. He was in good condition, and despite numerous tests, the doctors couldn't explain what had happened to him. The mysterious episode that deceived 3 experts into signing a death certificate remained unresolved. The day before, Jimenez had complained of feeling unwell, but nothing indicated more serious issues. Accusations were leveled at the negligent doctors, who maintained that they hadn't felt the prisoner's pulse and were confident he was dead. They claimed that there were already noticeable changes in his skin and rigor mortis. Jimenez's only concern was returning to the living. He knew he would have to serve his prison sentence until the end, but his request to meet with his wife while recovering was granted. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate your time and hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked what you saw, be sure to check out the other great content on our channel. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to bring you more. Thank you again, and see you in the next video.